I used to drink every day. Not to get wasted, but just to feel fucking normal. Just to feel like I was okay. And I told myself that everybody drinks and, well, it's okay because everyone does it. But the truth, the real truth, when you think about it, I was drinking so I didn't have to live my life, that I didn't have to be in my life, so that I could escape my reality. And every drink, every sip was drowning my legacy. And you say, well, what's your legacy? The legacy is what you're going to be remembered for. Who are you going to be remembered for? What are people going to say about you when you're gone? Do you want people to say, oh, fuck, he was all right, but he was pissed all the time? Oh, he was funny when he was pissed, or he was a good bloke, or... See, when you're drinking all the time, when I was drinking all the time, I never thought about legacy. I never thought about what my actions, the things that I was choosing to do, the things that I was putting before everything that I wanted, everything that I believed, and everything that I was putting alcohol before. All of that. Because I didn't know there was another way. I didn't believe that it was possible to live sober. I didn't believe that there was an option. But I found a way. I developed a system. And I didn't develop this system by, some miraculous secret or anything like that. It was just, I just got sober. And after I got sober, I worked out, well, what did I do? How did I actually get sober? Like, what steps did I take? And I put it down into a thing, and I've, called it the sober switch. So today I want to talk about the sober switch. What does it mean? It's like, it sounds nice, but like what in practicality, how does that play out? How do you use that? What can you do with it so that it becomes tangible, to become something that you can benefit from? Because I've already benefited. I've gone through all the steps, but I've also done other things. Things that didn't work, things that did work, things that offered hope, things that I believed might help me. Spent thousands of dollars in the belief that there was a magic cure to this thing called fucking alcohol addiction. But the sad reality is, there's no cure. There's things that it will make it easier. But the cure is you deciding that you're worth fighting for. And the first step that you have to do, you have to step over and step into, is understanding that you're owned by the lie. Because when I woke up in the morning on the fucking floor of the toilet, covered in spew and misery, shaking, wishing that, that I didn't wake up, day after day, doing this every fucking day, dragging myself to work, hoping that the fucking misery would be over at some point, but not knowing that the fucking misery was being brought on by myself and the choices that I made. And that's not to say that, I'm blaming you, because I was the one that was doing this to me. I was blaming me. But the truth is, you're doing it to you. But that's not because you're an idiot. Because nobody would choose this thing called alcohol addiction. It's not something that you choose. It's something that is slow and progressive, and it just sort of, when you're young, you drink and there's no consequences, and then you get a bit older and the consequences start to come, but they're not that bad. And then over time, the consequences get worse and worse and worse. But your tolerance for bullshit, your tolerance for misery gets higher. So by the time that you're living with that misery, like for me, my 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 baseline was misery. I had good times in that, and I had times where I was happy. But my baseline was misery because I was drinking all the time. So I didn't recognize that my baseline was slowly degrading. And as you drink, you get to a point where your baseline is non existent. That's how you can start off. That's how people can start off having a job, being functional, being happy, being, the life of the party and end up a drunk in the park. They don't wake up one day and go, oh, I'm going to be a drunk in the park. It's progressive standard slipping. Your standards are slowly slipping day by day to get you into that place where you're stuck, not realizing and not knowing and not believing that there's a fucking way out. But I'm here to tell you today, there is a way out. And that's the sober switch, which we've been talking about. Because, there's more to life than fucking, not speaking to your wife, avoiding the eye contact because you're ashamed about who you are and what you've said and what you didn't say, and maybe the things that you're unsure that you even said, because that was my daily life. You say things that you don't mean, and you don't even know what you said. So it's even worse. It's compounded because you're trying to fix something that you can't even cognitively know that you've even done, but something's wrong. You wake up and you do the check check the temperature of the room, check the temperature of the people around you, knowing that you fucked up yet again. But then you get up and go to work and hope for the day to be a bit better. But we think that because we're high functioning, we don't have a problem. We think that because we're working, we don't have a problem. But the truth is, you have to recognize that the lie that you are okay. And you have to recognize that the illusion that you're okay is wrong. So you have to break through. So that's a step one, is recognizing that alcohol's a liar. And all the things that you say to justify your drinking, all the things that you say to justify your drinking habits and your lifestyle around drinking is just a lie. Because the truth of alcohol is it's slowly killing you. It was killing me. And every time that you drink, it's one little cut. It's like the death of 1,000 cuts starts with one cut. And each time that you drink, each time that you let your standards slip, you get closer to the edge. You get closer to the cliff. Because, I woke up one night, having a stroke at 40 something, in my 40s, because of alcohol. But before that, there was warning signs. My weight was out of control. My blood pressure was out of control. My health was out of control. I had gout. I had all these things were things that were slowly in the background, making my health more and more precarious and more close to being unable to live. But when I woke up in the hospital after my stroke, I had tubes down my throat, and I woke up and I thought that I was choking. And then I woke up in intensive care, and after a day or two, being in a coma, my family not knowing whether or not I'd wake up again, and me not really caring. But that wasn't even enough to wake me up, because even after that, I still continued drinking. I still continued thinking that I could outrun this fucking insanity, because the truth of facing my life where I put it was more scary than the truth that, hey, we've got to do something about this fucking drinking. And you might say to yourself, well, that sounds silly, but if you're got any sort of functionality in your life, you can lie to yourself and say that, yeah, there's no drama, there's nothing to see here, we're all good. And you can keep going on. You can go to rehab. Like I went to rehab, several times, or 4 to 5 times, to hope that there was a cure, hope that I would find something in there. Yeah, you get a break from your problems, you get a break from your life, but at the end of the day, you come home and if you're anything like me, you get straight back on the piss. But you have to realise the step one is really to break the illusion, break the lie down. Stop lying to yourself about the alcohol. And then the second step is to own your identity. Because the identity of being a non-drinker. Because I've tried to cut back. I've tried to moderate. Because none of it worked until I saw myself as a non-drinker. Because if you still believe that alcohol has a place in your life in any form, you'll always justify yourself to have some again. You leave the door open. And that's not to say that you have to be afraid, because I'm not afraid of alcohol. I've got a healthy respect for it. But I know that it's not part of my life anymore. So drinking it, good, bad, or indifferent, isn't something that I do. I don't feel like I'm missing out because I don't drink. So you have to change, because you don't just try and quit. You just become somebody who doesn't drink. And you think, well, it can't be that simple. But if you are somebody that doesn't drink, you don't need to quit. Because it starts with changing your identity. It's not about getting willpower. Because if you're using willpower and you haven't changed your identity, you're always going to be fighting that little voice in your head that says, just have a drink, just have a drink. It's okay. You can get away with it this time. Because while that little voice has got a voice in your head, it's saying that on some level, alcohol's okay. Alcohol's okay for other people. It's not okay for me, because I'm a fucking leader, and leaders don't drink. Leaders set the example. And if you want to be a leader in your life, if you want to leave a legacy that other people will remember, say to yourself, I'm a man who doesn't drink and I'm a leader. Say it out loud. Say it proudly. And that's not to put the shit on anyone that does drink. People can do whatever the fuck they want. But I'm a leader. And as a leader, I don't drink. I set the example. And that's okay. And then the next thing that needs to happen, really, is to start to get some structure into your life. Because every time that I've relapsed, every time I've fucked up, is when I haven't had structure in my life. And it's not about, having a dead set, 1, 2, 3 every day. It's about having a structured plan for your day. And because with no structure, with no clear path for the plan for the day, and if you don't know what you're going to be doing, they say that, the devil's playground is idle hands. So if you don't have a clear structure, if you don't have a plan for your day, you might just get a little plan for the day to get pissed. And it just might start as there's not much happening today, we'll have a drink. And that's how it happens. But if you're busy, if you've got plans for the day, if you've got things in your life, if you've got structure around your life and your day, the opportunities for that little voice become smaller. Because you don't want to have times where you've got the opportunity for the little voice to creep in. And it's about setting that structure at the appropriate times where I used to have, for me, there used to be a time in the afternoons where I drink and you'd have to, I would come home from work and get pissed. That was what I did. So to counteract that, at that time, that specific time, I put something else in the place of that, so that when that time came, the opportunity wasn't there. So whether you get up in the morning and you have a drink, you could say, I'll go for a walk. It's really simple things. It's not about doing something magical or, finding the cure. It's just about making it a little bit harder, putting the structure in your life so that you can help yourself. Because you don't rise to the level of your motivation. You fall to the level of your systems. So you don't need motivation all the time, although it helps. But you have to have underlying systems in place that when X happens, this happens. And that's about building the structure in your life. And we go further into this, when we're doing the program, but just know that structure is the key to keep you in play and keep it possible for you to be able to keep going. And how you can do that is just start to commit to something to do in the morning, a simple practice that you can do in the morning, and then a commitment to something in the afternoon. And having those commitments in place over and over and over again will build that willpower into your life, will build that structure and will help you to help yourself. And the next thing is to have a brotherhood around you, a brotherhood of men or women or people that will support, lift you up, guide you. Initially I went to AA, and there's lots of great people in AA. And a lot of people don't resonate with that, and I don't go all the time myself now. And that's okay. Whatever it is, you have to find people on the path that you want to go on that are a little bit further ahead than you. That's why coaching, that's why I built the brotherhood that you can join in the link below, so that we can support each other, that we can grow together, and we can continue this journey together. Because if you're drowning inside quietly and you've got no one to talk to and you've got no help out there, it's hard, because you've got to admit that you're not going okay. You don't want to admit to your family, you don't want to admit to your friends. But who do you admit to? You find a brotherhood of people that understand. And like I said, there's an opportunity for you to join the brotherhood of Kick the Piss down below. But whatever brotherhood you find, or whatever tribe that you find that will help you, leverage that, lean into that, because that's where the support will come in the times that you need it. Because when I started to connect with other people on the journey, on the path, I started to see that it was possible for me too, that I could go further along. Because I want you to join the group. Join the brotherhood. If you want to start to build something in your life, join the group of men that are on the path. And then start to be a leader. Start to lead your life. Start to lead your family. Start to be the person. And it won't happen straight away. It won't be like, oh, well, he stopped drinking. You know, people still think that you're all those things that they said that you were before you were before you were drinking. But it takes time. But you have to believe that you're the leader of your life before you can lead anyone else. And it's about becoming that leader, stepping into that identity, and really realize that life isn't about getting pissed. Life is about living. Life is about becoming the man that you were meant to be, not the man that you are right now. Because until you put down the drink and pick up your legacy and start to move forward, start to be proud of yourself again, things won't change. So start to think about using the pain of your addiction to create a legacy. What legacy would you want to leave? What do you want to be remembered by? Who do you want to be remembered for? And what difference do you want to make in this world? And you might say, oh, well, it's a bit far-fetched to think that we can change the world, when we're just drunks and, men just trying to get through the fucking day. But the truth is, you have to be a little bit crazy to believe that you can change the world. And you've already proved that you're crazy by drinking every day. So why don't you believe that you can change the world now? Be a little bit crazy. Get a bigger goal. Get a bigger reason. And even if it's to be a better father, to be a better husband, to be a better son, or even a better leader in your community. Because you were born to be great. You were born to be a fucking leader. Now it's time to fucking prove it. And just write down one sentence. When I'm sober, I will. And then write down what you will do. Who will you be? Start to believe that that's possible for you. Because you can. And I know this 100%. You can stop drinking one day. You can stop drinking right now if you choose to. There might be medical reasons to make it a little bit difficult, and maybe things that you need to put in place medically. But there is nothing really stopping you saying, I'm fucking done with alcohol. Because it came to a point in my life where that happened, where I said, I'm done. It took a lot more pain, a lot more problems, a lot more misery that I didn't want to face. But the truth is, the problems in your life aren't going to go away by drinking. Because if that was the case, I would never have a problem again in my life for 2,000 lives. But I still have problems today. My life's not perfect. I still wake up cranky some days. Still wake up with the shits. Still wake up, fighting with people. Still wake up. I'm not perfect. But I'm not drunk either. Because drinking never fixed anything. And this is the truth. You don't have to wait for a stroke. You don't have to wait for your health to give out. You don't have to wait for your relationships to fall apart. You don't have to wait for your kids not to talk to you. You don't have to wait for your family to, dismantle. You don't have to wait for your businesses to stop working. You don't have to wait till everything not to be okay. You can just start now and start where you're at. Don't keep fucking digging the hole. And you might think, oh, well, maybe just one more day. Some people don't get one more day. Some people wish that they stopped yesterday because they're not here today, because they had one more day. And the truth is, you never know when your last day is. And do you really want your last day to be a day pissed, sick, hungover, miserable, and feeling sorry for yourself? Because if you drink again, day after day after day, that's what's going to happen, because you already know what you're going to get. Now it's time to try and open your eyes to a possibility of what could be. So just to quickly recap what the sober switch is. Step 1, break the illusion of your drinking. Understand that everything that you say about your drinking is a lie. Step 2, create a new identity within yourself. Step 3, build a structure in your life. Step 4, engage a brotherhood of men or people that will support you to keep your word to yourself, and that you can support to build a brotherhood of men that will help others grow in sobriety together. And then get a mission. Step 5 is to forge a mission of life that will sustain you, that will make you a leader, that will help you to be the man or woman that you want to be, so that you can move into that position. And that when things get tough, you've got a reason to keep fucking going. And that's what it's all about. Because you don't have to keep going the way that you are now. There is a better way. And that way, my friends, is sobriety. And I believe that it's possible for everyone to stop, no matter how far you've gone. And I just welcome you to join the Brotherhood down below. And if you like what you hear, contact me. I'd love to help you on this journey to get sober, because you're worth fucking fighting for. I'm going to fight for you, but you have to fight for yourself. So go to kickthepiss.com or just reach out, because I got your back.